Starting in the late evening of Wednesday, October 24th, 2018, and peaking about between 2 a.m. and about 5 a.m. on Thursday morning, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands of Saipan, Tinian, and Rota were hit by a Category 5 super typhoon called Yutu, Y-U-T-U, and it had sustained winds of 180 miles per hour in some areas and for some durations. So as a result, there was a lot of damage on the island. Cars were toppled over, trucks were overturned, roofs were blown off, walls were toppled, trees were felled. Even some of the concrete poles that had been erected after Typhoon Sodalor, some of those were toppled over as well. So as a result, there's no electricity, no water. People have to queue for gas for limited hours. A lot of people are homeless. People are living in their cars, living in shelters. So a lot of damage here on the island. About a day or two after the storm, I ran into Manny. He's a mechanic here on island, and he was driving on his way and made a detour on my street, and we talked for a second. And I realized, I could see that he was deeply affected. There were tears in his eyes as he told me that he lost everything. All of the investments, everything that he had planned for to make a better future for himself and for his children was all dashed as a result of the storm. And I left that conversation feeling like I wanted to do something a little bit more for Manny, but didn't quite know how I could do that. About a day later, I ran into Helen, who sweeps the grounds in the parking lot of Joten shopping center. And she too told me that she was homeless, living in the shelter at one of the churches. And 2 days after that, I ran into Randy, who tends the produce department at Joten supermarket. And he hadn't known about the shelters. So for the last 4 nights, he told me he had been sitting in the lobby of one of the hotels and enduring the stares of, the hotel staff and pretending not to sleep. But then he found out about the shelters that same day that I spoke to him. So that night he was going to stay there. But so I asked him, what about his belongings? What about his possessions? And he said, oh, they're still there in the house. And a lot of homes have no roofs, no walls, so they're exposed to the elements. So a lot of his personal belongings are just sitting out there with nowhere for him to take them. So I felt like I wanted to do something for people like Manny, for people like Helen, for people like Randy, something that FEMO, something that Red Cross isn't able to compensate for. So I started this GoFundMe campaign, gofundme.com/CNMIStrong. And I reached out to my tour clients, and within a day we got some donations, and I'm going to be able to pass those on to Manny or to anyone else who's profiled here on this page. So if you see a story here that moves you, if you'd like to help out and offer some personalized support, feel free to do so in any amount at all. Don't be intimidated by some of the larger amounts that people are donating, because it's more than just the financials that's at play here. When I'm able to give someone cash or a check, it represents not just the money itself, but it represents an individual on the other side of the world. It represents people caring for other people. It represents the good in our society, that there are others who have the means, who will help somebody they don't know way on the other side of the world. And it gives people hope, it gives them inspiration, it makes them think about the world in a slightly different way. So donate any amount at all and I'll pass it on to someone in need. And if there's a specific individual who you'd like to help with your funds, feel free to specify that when you make your donation. And also at any time, even months after Yutu, there'll still be people who are rebuilding, still be people who are trying to put their lives together. So there's no time limit on this fund. Anytime you run into this video, just make a donation and I'll pass it on to individuals who need it. So if after watching this video, you'd like to personalize your contribution and put a name and a face and a situation to your contribution to Manny or to Helen or to Randy, just feel free to do so. And once the funds are deposited from GoFundMe to my account, I'll be able to film those distributions so you can see the effect that they have on people. So on that note, I hope to hear from you in the comments, and I'm back to work. Oh, one more thing. You can also go to CNMIStrong.com and order this t-shirt. We here in the CNMI have been through typhoons Bavi and Sodalor and Yutu and a few others, and this shirt is a visual reminder to be CNMI strong as we rebuild. You can order for yourself, or you can order for people here on islands so I can give it as a gift to any of the fund recipients and survivors.